Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief John Campea.
Greetings and salutations everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie related show on the planet, coming to you live from the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us a part of your day, and this is a really fun day. Now, a lot of you guys know, a few weeks back, I went for a week to Las Vegas to the annual CinemaCon conference where it's always a good time. And this year, I got to see 3 movies I really liked. And one of the ones was a film I was hoping would be awesome, feared it would suck, and it turned out blowing away my expectations. It's so good, and that film is Neighbors. And joining us today here in studio right now, I'm really excited to have one of the stars of the film, Ike Barinholtz, and the director of the film, Mr. Nicholas Stoller. Guys, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah. Boom.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you
Right
very
there.
much. What were the other 2 movies you saw?
I saw Draft Day, and I saw $1 Million Arm.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Yes.
Sports movies.
Yes, we're a sports movie.
Yeah, we were the
In
best
many ways.
non-sports movies.
The best non-sports movie at CinemaCon.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a very specific niche.
Ike, I want to start with you about this because we look at the posters and everybody's seeing Rogan, Efron.
And you're wondering, why am I not on the poster?
I just assumed there was a typo of some kind.
Listen, here's the deal.
But no,
So-
you look
this is so
at the cast in this. Beyond the 2 leads, I mean, we've got you, Dave Franco, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, on and on and on. This is a terrific cast. What was the chemistry like on set for you guys all working together? How did that go?
Everyone, I think, like Nick and Seth and Evan have like a no jerks policy. I feel like, I think they subscribe to the life is too short theory, and I think if you have one jerk on your set, it can kind of make shooting really
Makes it a bummer.
Yeah, it makes it a bummer. Yeah. So everyone was so nice and so excited, and the mood was so irreverent and fun. And when you're making a really funny, fun film, you're just in a good mood. So everyone was kind of constantly good. And plus, Nick gave everyone drugs.
They didn't know. They didn't know.
No, that's the thing.
It was
I was just
yeah.
eating the food. I was like, this is really good crafty. And then I was high.
And then you're like, why did you do that? That's not.
Yeah, no, there's a pretty gigantic lawsuit that's going to break on deadline very soon. So
You've kept it under wraps very well.
we have, but we have to, part of the court order.
There was a lot of breaking on this movie. Like a lot of people
breaking.
cracking up.
Yeah.
With more than any movie I've done. And I had to figure out, because I like it to be a light, fun set.
Right.
But when people break, I can't use the footage.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to find the right way to say like, oh, okay, come on, guys.
We were you were just here like, seriously, guys, we have to move on.
I get it, that wiener joke's funny. We do have to get it.
Yeah, guys, we got it.
Laughing.
We got it. Seriously, enough.
Most of the scenes, especially with you and Seth and Rose, I'm cutting right, like you can see them start to smile. Yeah. Like I'm cutting right at the beginning of a smile happening on basically all of those scenes.
I'm glad you brought up Rose, actually, because I think a lot of people won't be prepared for how key her character really is in the film. Because a lot of these types of comedies, they can take their female characters, right, and just kind of shove them off to the side as window dressing.
Nagging
and you guys don't. She's a terrific character.
She's
Talk
the
about her role.
MVP of the film, I would say. I feel like she...
What does that mean? I don't know sports.
Ready for this? I saw Draft Day, most valuable player.
Oh.
But she really, I think, anchors it, because otherwise it's just like 2 dumb guys. But when you add in like a dummy like her, a dumb wife, it really, I mean, Nick made a great point when we were watching the movie. He goes, everyone in this movie is a moron. And Dave Franco's character is somewhat redeemable because he's like...
He called himself the smartest of the dumb guys.
Yeah, but like, I mean, the opening scene, this married couple is debating whether or not to bring their baby to a rave. And the only thing that prevents them is exhaustion.
Yeah, they would do it.
But their natural tiredness got the best
and
of
our
them.
budget. It really is our budget preventative from
We wanted to shoot a rave
We were like,
scene.
can we figure, how do we do a rave? We were like, we can't figure it out. But our budget was very small. So.
But yeah, she is so funny in the movie and just so has, I think, the best lines in the movie.
And really game to do whatever.
Yeah, down for whatever.
Now, Nick, you did a film, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That is, it's one of those movies that I'll watch 5 or 6 times a year. Like, it's just that great.
Whenever it's on TV, I watch the whole thing. I watch the whole thing.
You just can't turn it off. But you've also written a lot of great stuff. Comedy to me is one of those things. Like, all film is subjective, but comedy more than anything else is the most subjective thing. I mean, what makes one person laugh may not make another. You found great success in making people laugh. Now, this is going to be a really hard one to answer, I understand, but what do you think? What is that key for you? And what is it about you that allows you to find that way to make people laugh? Why does that work so well in your films?
Well, thanks very much. Penis jokes.
They look funny.
They look funny.
They're weird-looking things.
They look funny.
They're gross,
they're
and
weird.
they're funny.
I think it's, I start with a kind of dramatic structure. Like all of the movies I've done, I think the best comedies are inherently dramatic, and I try to have a kind of emotionally relatable idea at the center of each of the movies, and then hang the jokes on it. If you start with the jokes, your movie won't work. So it's like, so like with Freddie and Sarah Marshall, it is like on its surface kind of a dramatic story about a guy having a breakdown because his girlfriend dumped him. It's like, So yeah, and I think that's, and I think that's true of like, each of the movies I've done, that there is something dramatic happening at the center of it, So.
Ike, this is a fairly big period of time for you because not only do you have the film, but just recently they announced your show. The mini project's been picked up for a 3rd season.
Season 3.
Talk about a little bit about that, but also straddling that world. I'm always fascinated talking to actors who are doing TV while they're doing films at the same time and how you make that all work.
Well, I think definitely. I mean, you even told me that he saw me on the mini project and then kind of was like, oh yeah, he could be in this movie. He could play this moron. He's a moron in this show. I've seen him play a moron.
Pilot and was like, who? Because I wasn't familiar with your work before, and I was like, who is that?
Wow, that guy is a real idiot.
He's so dumb.
He's a dope. And I have another film where I need a dope.
Like an aggressive. The thing is you're really angry and aggressive. Like there's a line that doesn't. It's not even a joke, but it makes me laugh really hard when they're coming up to the blacklight party and you just go like, what took you guys so long? Like so angry for no reason. Like at all times. Where were you? What took you guys so long?
I've been waiting here for like an hour.
Why were you there so early?
I don't know. I'm an idiot. But it's amazing to last summer wrap the mini project and then like a couple days later go right into working with another group of amazingly funny, cool people. It's very, very, very lucky.
Well, listen, we asked our viewers if they had any questions for you, and I want to remind you guys, Neighbors opens in AMC theaters everywhere tonight. You can actually head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. But we want to take a couple of your questions that you guys have been tweeting in to #NeighborsAMC. And starting it off, we got JFLPP writes in, have either of you guys ever actually had...
I call him Jeff Bull.
Yeah.
Jeff Bull.
Have either of you guys actually ever had bad neighbors in your life, or were you ever one of the bad neighbors?
I lived like 2 doors down from Wrigley Field in Chicago, so I had like 50,000 bad neighbors for a summer. That
sounds horrible.
It was a nightmare.
Absolutely
horrible. Literally, like you'd wake up to like the sounds of urination right by you, and you would hear like, "I'm gonna kick your ass, Pat!" So I had like 50,000 of them, all spread out over one horrible summer. But I've been very lucky otherwise. All my other neighbors are very kind people. What about you?
Yeah, I actually really haven't had any, nothing that interesting, especially since I made a movie about bad neighbors. I have no real experience. We were kind of loud in college. We would blast Star Wars at 3 in the morning. And our upstairs neighbors would be like, could you turn it down? And we'd be like, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They were so mad, and we would like turn up. We're gonna show them. We're gonna blast the like cantina theme. We're gonna blast the cantina theme at 3 in the morning. They're like, can you please turn it down?
We're dealing with some real tough guys downstairs.
Yeah. Star Wars. There are 2 members of Asian American Christian Fellowship that come down and be like, can you please turn that off? We'd be like, no, okay, fine. 4 sober nerds watching Star Wars.
I had friends in the Asian American Christian Fellowship.
Yeah. Sober nerds. 4 sober nerds.
What is funnier than a sober nerd?
Watching Star Wars.
Okay, let me get another one in here.
That scene was cut from the movie. It's too crazy.
I hope that answers your question, Jeff.
Yeah, I think it was really good. Johnny Bravo Man writes in, he says, during the early stages of production, did you think that this movie was going to be a success, and why? And actually, I love that question because I often like to ask, like, do you guys ever have that moment on set? Because, everything looks great in pre-production, and then you go on a set, and sometimes you get that moment where you can tell this isn't working or this is really clicking on all cylinders. What was that moment for you when you realized this movie is really coming together?
Well, I mean, I think I always feel like the movies are going well while I'm making them, and then you don't really know what's going to happen when you release it. It's like, and I think there's something there's something extra magical that happens when a movie comes out that is going to do well. Like, it's like a marketing thing. Who knows what it is? There's like a bunch of things that happen. So I don't really know. I get a sense, obviously, if the movie itself is working, but whether it's going to do well is like a whole other thing.
I could kind of tell when I, honestly, that sounds lame, when I kind of heard what the story was, and that it was Zac Efron versus Seth.
Just funny to look at.
Literally that poster, I mean, right away you're like, okay, I get it.
You can be illiterate and be like, he's young and he's old, they don't like each other.
He's a little fatter than that one.
Yeah. And there's a baby. I like the baby.
I like the baby in the thing. And then when we were shooting it, you could just tell, like, I think if you know the movie has a hook, and you're shooting it and it's fun, and you're like, okay, this will be a movie people will watch. I feel like,
Jonah Hill is a really good thing that he said that I thought was really accurate, which is when you're shooting a movie where every day it feels like a different movie, that it's like a good sign. Like, and this movie really was like two completely different movies. It was like a very sweet family story, and then like
crazy,
and then Project X, like murder story.
Well, guys, listen, thanks so much for taking time to come in here. Listen, this movie is ridiculously funny. I already saw it at CinemaCon. I'm going to go see it again tonight.
Look at that.
So head on over, get your tickets now at amctheaters.com. Ike, thanks so much for coming in. Congratulations on the show and the film.
Thank you so much.
Nicholas, continued success, and really great job on this film.
Thanks so much.
And listen, I want to let you guys know before we go on with the show, there was another little film I saw at CinemaCon called $1 Million Arm. That comes out next week. But we wanted to share with you a little conversation we had with the star of the film, Mr. Jon Hamm. Check this out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first time you've played a character based on a real-life person?
Unless the character I played in Bridesmaids was based on someone in Kristen's life, then yes.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Well, actors always talk about how that is such a responsibility. Now, JB, the character is not always a nice guy. Did that bring an extra level of pressure to the role?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's as you say, it is based on a real person, and so you don't want to highlight, you know, the nastier aspects of anybody's life. But that said, the character has to have some place from which to start, so he can end up at the end of the story in a different place. But sure, I think, you know, JB will tell you the same thing, or he may already have, that this experience changed his life for the better, and it's you know, it's a wonderful story. I mean, the guy learns a lot about, like, he grows up basically, and learns about, like, what's important in life, and people aren't numbers, and money's not the only thing, and there are more important things in life than just the deal, and that's the way it happened for the real guy.
I love all the scenes in India. Such a great energy it brought to the film. Would you say it would have been impossible to recreate that anywhere else but India?
It would have been impossible. I mean, it would have been, you know, it would have been inauthentic, which I was really glad that Disney and the production team and production design really fought for having that moment. And honestly, like, we had two windows. One was in May and one was in September, where we could legitimately shoot before people started getting other jobs and falling out. And so we made it happen in May. And it's, even the Bollywood movies don't shoot outside in May. It's that hot.
Yeah.
And it's, they all looked at us like we were crazy. They were like, you're doing what? Like, no, you don't want to go outside and shoot. Like, that's stupid. And, but we had to do it, and so we did it. And it was incredibly hot.
But it looks brilliant.
But it looks beautiful, and it is a beautiful country. It's a study in extremes, from you know, wealth and poverty and sights and smells and sounds, and just so much. It's overwhelming.
$1 Million Arm opens next week in AMC theaters, and of course, Neighbors opens tonight in AMC theaters everywhere. For either film, head on over to www.amctheaters.com once again for all your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. I got Christian Harloff now in here with me. Join me to talk about some movie news.
What's going on? Man, those guys are tall.
Yeah, they're both tall dudes. You can't really tell when they're sitting at the table. But listen, we've got a few movie news stories we're going to get to here, and something kind of came up this morning after we wrote the show notes. I know, Christian, you were reading a little bit more about it, but it looks like it's being reported right now that Lethal Weapon is going to get rebooted.
Yeah.
And they're talking now, the report I read, if I'm remembering right, said Justin Lin was on to direct, and that they're talking to Chris Hemsworth to revive the old Mel Gibson character. What's your reaction to that when you hear that news?
I like everyone involved. I hate the news story. I hate the story because Lethal Weapon as itself is such a great action movie. From everything from Shane Black, the one that put him on the map, Mel Gibson really. I don't know if you can do that movie the way it was done there. They'll probably make it PG-13 if it comes out. It was a reason it was rated R. Just do a different movie with him and this team together. That I like. I like the teaming, but Lethal Weapon, no, leave it alone.
I'm okay with it. I'm actually okay because I'm thinking if you are going to redo Lethal Weapon. And let's assume for a second that everything that's in this report is true. Let's just go with that assumption for a second. I think Lynn is a great guy to do it. If you're going to do it, Lynn's a great guy to do it. And I think Chris Hemsworth is the guy that could pick up the mint. I think he could be that new guy. And look, once again, I'm okay with remakes because the fact of the matter is every year that goes by is tons more people who have never seen the original. And if it sucks, I still have the original, you know? And this could work. Now, all things being equal, hey, just get another actioneer kind of cop film with Justin Lin and you know Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, sure. But if you're going to do Lethal Weapon, this sounds like a nice pairing to do it.
Sure. If you're going to have somebody do it, why not these guys? Sure. As long as Michael Bay isn't doing it, I got it. Okay, I got it.
All right, let's get into some of the other stuff we got lined up today.
A brand new trailer for the upcoming Dawn of the Planet of the Apes has hit the web. The movie takes place 10 years after the events of the first film and finds Caesar, Andy Serkis, attempting to assert his dominance over the apes while a small human colony struggles to survive in San Francisco. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes opens in AMC theaters everywhere on July 11th. John, what do you think of this new Apes trailer?
You know, some people online who are jerks, they often tell me, John, you don't act professional enough because you're supposed to be professional. I don't care. I watched this trailer and I'm sitting in my seat.
Exactly.
Like I was having a joygasm in my seat watching this trailer. When Caesar, just that moment you hear Caesar go, war, I'm like, oh my God. Like I totally had a little bit of a freak out, like just total nerdgasm on that. This trailer's awesome. I don't know what they could have done to this trailer. Like I got nothing in my head that I could go, well, if they did this instead, it would have been a little bit better. I love this trailer. What are your thoughts?
Love this trailer. Apes on horses, apes on horses. And it starts with apes on horses. Everything about it is showing where they've become, them raising their society, and then, uh-oh, here come those stinking humans again to get involved. And then we see the back and forth. I get a clear cut of what the story is about. I am in. It could not be July fast enough.
Yeah, and this trailers are now really giving the impression that Gary Oldman is probably the unwitting villain in the film in many ways, but you know, the effects look great.
Emotional.
Oh, just look. And when you see the camera pans out and you see like the ape colony and like the tree kingdom, almost like the
writing on the walls and stuff. As far as teaching, it looks so good. I can't wait.
Yeah, this looks awesome. All right, what's next?
It has been announced that Warner Brothers is developing a brand new animated Flintstones movie. The original TV series ran from 1960 to 1966 and was the longest-running primetime animated show until The Simpsons overtook it. There have been 2 live-action Flintstones movies in 1994 and 2000, but this will be the franchise's first animated feature. Christian, what do you think about a Flintstones animated movie?
I hate to be disrespectful to this, but I don't care. I mean, I love the Flintstones did. If it wasn't for the Flintstones, there is no Simpsons, there is no Family Guy. They're the ones that started it all off. But I just think their time is gone. It's like it could be funny, it could be good, but I'm not excited about it. But if it's good, sure, I'll watch it and like it.
I'm very excited about it.
You
really? I'm excited about it specifically because it's going to be animated.
Yeah.
Like once again, I don't mean to crap on the live action films because I think the first one I even got a little bit of a kick out of, but the Flintstones home is in animation. And even when I go back, like every couple of months, I'll still find like a rerun of a Flintstones episode, and I'll watch. It's like this show was so far ahead of its time. I mean, still mired in really bad sexism and some pretty bad racism too.
He was Tony Soprano before Tony Soprano.
Yeah. I mean, but seriously, the tone. This is a beloved and classic and cherished and iconic piece of our pop culture, and to take another go at it, animated. And I don't often say this. This would be one of those rare things that I would really like to prefer to see 2D animated as opposed to a CG film. So I'd be all for it, personally. All right, what's next?
Going into mailbag.
Oh, mailbag already. It's time for mailbag, folks. I thought there was another one. Anyway, It is time for Medbay. Listen, guys, if you have a topic or a question you'd like us to address on our show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're going to try to get through some mailbag questions here and then take some live questions from the Twitter board. But right now, Ashley's got the mailbag questions pulled out. So, Ashley, what do we got?
JR writes, not too long ago, there was a story about a possible Vacation reboot, or maybe it was sequel. Just wondering if there was any updates. Thanks, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it really had steam. It was Ed Helms. I can't remember who else was involved, but Ed Helms was the main thing. And we didn't know for a while whether it was going to be a reboot or not, but it turned out Ed Helms was actually going to play Rusty.
Really?
Yeah, he was going to play the grown son, and that apparently Chevy Chase, there was going to be cameos and stuff like that. But it was, so in essence, really, it's a sequel in many ways. Honestly, though, I have not heard anything since. For all I know, the film's already shot. Or for all I know, it's been scrapped altogether. I really don't know off the top of my head.
I don't know either, but you have put me at ease more with this movie if that's where it's going. Because again, going back to what we just said with Lethal Weapon and even the Flintstones, I'd rather just stand it past. Vacation is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Right.
And because of what Chevy Chase did. But Ed Helms as Rusty, okay, I like that. I'm curious. I want to hear more about it. I hope we hear it soon.
And we get to see the damage that his family did to him as an
Absolutely.
adult now.
Yeah,
All right, what's next?
Kevin Peterson writes, hey guys, huge fan of the show. Do you ever see another sequel or a reboot to The Godfather?
I know there was there's a new novel that happened after, I think The Family something or other was the title. I can't remember it specifically. The only reason I would doubt we'll see one is because I think Hollywood would look at that as treading on holy ground in many ways. I mean, look, they did Godfather Part 3 and it didn't quite live up, even though we still got a Best Picture nomination, whatever. It's one of those films I think many filmmakers would want to tread very, very lightly. And The Godfather, it's been emulated by so much mass media now. I don't know what else you can do with it at this point. So while I think you could make it, and I think you could probably make something that's pretty good, and maybe even make something that makes money, I think studios very understandably would be kind of apprehensive about it.
As well they should be, for sure. But I think that I hope it's more possible that you get a sequel than a reboot. No thanks on the reboot. I'd rather have maybe something, what happened to the Corleone family today? Where are they today? Like, what that branch? That could be interesting. But I'd like to also keep it in the Coppola family. So, so one way or another.
Just not Sophia acting in it again.
No, please.
All right, what's next?
Telenu writes, hello there. Are there tropes or cliches in movies that irritate you when you see it? Ones that immediately take you out of the film? Thanks.
There are two specifically. I mean, there are lots. There are lots. But there are two specifically that, for whatever reason, really annoy me. Number one, the hero has the girl he loves, and the girl he loves is in a relationship with somebody else. 99 times out of 100, the guy that the girl is already in a relationship with is a jerk.
Yeah.
They make him a complete unsympathetic jerk because they don't want you as the audience member to feel bad that your hero is plotting to take away somebody else's girlfriend. So you got to make that other guy a jerk. And it's like 99 out of 100 times. That's really frustrating to me. It almost takes me out of the film immediately when I see that happen. The second thing, and we've seen this all the time. Okay, here's the scenario. I'm in the movie, right? And I call, there's something really dangerous going on, right? We're in a very dangerous situation. And I call Christian. So Christian is out doing something, and I call him on the phone and say, Christian, I've got something world-shattering to tell you, something that's very key and so important. It's going to change the course of human history. And Christian says, well, what is it? And I'll say, for an inexplicable reason, not now. Meet me at midnight at the cliffs overlooking the city. You know immediately I'm going to die before that meeting on the cliff ever happens. We see it in like 1 out of every 4 movies, dramatic movies, that happens. We got to talk, it's really important. Okay, well, you know, that guy's dead. That guy's about to die in the next 2 minutes. So those two things are ones that really get me. What about you?
I'm going visually more than anything else. There's things in visually that take me out right away in the storyline because like, the badass fighter is coming. It happens a lot in the epic fights. It happens a lot in Resident Evil movies, okay? So there's a fight and the slow motion happens and what happens, oh, there's like a big blade coming and you have to see the blade and the woman go, or whoever go,
yeah.
I hate that. It's so stupid. It's like every time they do that same specific move, I'm out of it. It's just a special
and
effect.
And it's either
trick.
a blade or it's a bullet in slow motion
yeah,
or it's
like,
a laser.
I don't need to do that. It started with the Matrix. Leave it with the Matrix. And again, also going to the same tone is the slow motion walk that like of the team You know, it's like, oh, look how together they are as a team. It's like, we've done it a billion times.
And of course, the explosion going off in the background.
That one, it always gets me. So
that's a John Woo, like, signature right there.
Yes.
All right, what's next?
William Aguizabal writes, do you think Edgar Wright will use the same visual style he did in Scott Pilgrim, or will he do something completely different from his other works? Thanks, and keep the filth coming.
I'm assuming you're talking about Ant-Man. And no, I don't think he uses the same visual style. Look, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, if you ever read the graphic novel, you know that's the visual style that film needed. And if you have not seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and it is a shame how many people have not seen Scott Pilgrim, it did terribly at the box office. It's a wonderful film, but it's very much in keeping with its source material. So it was very much almost a panel by panel kind of expression on the screen the way they did it, and it was perfect for that. But if you watch Edgar Wright's other stuff, you know that's not what he normally does. Right. And going into Ant-Man, I'm sure look, Kevin Feige and Marvel have already set up a visual style and a tempo for their films. And I'm sure Edgar Wright is going to probably adopt that and then cram his sensibilities into it. But no, I don't expect this film to look like Scott Pilgrim.
I mean, I think for me, directors are like musicians in the fact that if you listen to a musician's song, you can still hear a piece of other things that they've done, like composers, exactly. You can always hear Hans Zimmer. When you hear Hans Zimmer, you hear pieces of everything that he's done, whether it be this last Spider-Man to Inception. You'll hear a little piece of it. Right. And you might see pieces of this in directing style with Edgar Wright that just from Scott Pilgrim. Oh, that's a trick that he used. But overall, I think, yeah, you have to you want to do that exact thing. Is that later on going, oh, that is how they shot Ant-Man. That reminds me of Ant-Man, because that's what Edgar Wright does. He makes you remember his movies by the style fitting that film.
All right, folks, so listen, we said we'd leave a couple of minutes at the end of the show to take your questions on Twitter. We're going to do just that. So if you've got a question you'd like to ask us live, tweet it to us at AMC Movie News. Ashley is monitoring the Twitter stream. So Ashley, what questions do we have?
Joseph Sanchez writes, I just watched Lethal Weapon with my dad last night. What is a movie you enjoy watching with your family? I'm curious now.
Oh, I still, my family and I, and it's always around Christmas time, Alistair's A Christmas Carol. That's just one we could watch all the time, and Jaws, the original Jaws. My family can put that on. We'll watch that.
My dad and I every year it's like a tradition. Again, Christmas, March of the Wooden Soldiers with Laurel and Hardy. Oh. It's just that's one of the movies that it's so funny to me still with the boogeyman and all this stuff. It's if you haven't seen it, it's a 1934 or something. But again, it's a funny one. And Star Wars with my brother. Yeah, I can watch Star Wars all day long. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Vaughn writes, is there any update on a Kill Bill 3, or has that ship completely sailed?
I think it's sailed. I remember there was some talk about re-releasing it. There was some talk a while ago about him taking the film and doing a bit of a re-edit on it to make it one big movie and re-releasing it that way. But then I haven't heard anything about that in a long time, so I think it might be done. Have you heard anything different?
No, just the fact because now he's got the one that he's working on. It's the Western, right? That he's working.
That he said he was working on. Then he said he was shelving. Now maybe he'll do it again.
They're saying that that's going down.
The Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight is what he's working on right now. So Quentin Tarantino is very specific. When he's working on something, you don't hear about anything else. That's what he's working on. It's Hateful Eight. With Kill Bill 3, I do think it's going to happen because it doesn't matter how old Uma Thurman gets. She can be 60 and they can do it because she's not going to be the main star of it. It's supposed to be Vivica A. Fox's kid that's supposed to be the star of that movie. So I hope so. I love those movies. I hope so.
All right, what's next?
Patrick Hogue writes, what is your favorite actor-director combo?
I'm going to assume you mean like as two separate people, not like Clint Eastwood as the actor and director. My favorite actor-director, right now, it would probably be Scorsese and DiCaprio. Yeah. Right now, those are the ones that are really doing it for me. I mean, Spielberg and Hanks are formidable, and they've got a new one coming out. We know that, but I'll go Scorsese, DiCaprio.
You took mine. They're really working well together. Again, Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah.
So
or Nick Frost.
Or Nick Frost. I think that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg are going to wind up working together a lot more, especially in this, because Simon Pegg loves that world of the superheroes and so I hope to see him a lot more work with Edgar Wright.
All right, let's take one more.
Okay, Victor M. Shaw writes, is it possible that we'll ever see a Walking Dead movie?
We've had this question before. I mean, possible, yes. I think it's possible. Do I think it's likely? I don't think it's likely. Yeah. So, because, I mean, really, what would it be that's not already just a part of the TV show? I'm not really sure.
Right, and plus they said that the show recently can go on for another 10 years is what they're hoping. If the ratings stick, they want to go another 10 years. So if you're working on a show for, let's say, 6 years, you're not going to be putting all that time with the amount of episodes they do.
Right.
You're not going to have a movie for a long time.
Yeah. All right, folks, well, that'll do it for us. Thanks so much for joining us. And also, a big special thanks to Ike Barinholtz and director Nicholas Stoller. I love his movies, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, we didn't even talk about some of the films that he wrote, like Muppets and all this other kind of stuff. Just super talented. Seriously, guys, Neighbors, very, very funny. Make sure you head on out and check that out. Thanks a lot for joining us again. Listen, if you haven't done so already, make sure you click that thumbs up button on this video to let us know that you liked it, and click on subscribe. Lots of great films like Neighbors now playing in AMC theaters everywhere. Go to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. And listen, if you'd like to listen to audio-only shows, the podcasts, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our Stitcher and our iTunes. And I should point out, if you like using apps, that app on that's on iPhone and on Android called TuneIn, we are like their #1 featured entertainment podcast right now. So if you get the TuneIn app, you can keep up to date with all of our programming in audio form there. I want to thank, of course, Mr. Christian Harloff for being here. Christian, where can people find you online?
You can just search right here on YouTube and type in Schmozno.
And, of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Ashley Mova. Have a good one.
And you can find me on all the various social media channels just at John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. I'm John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.